Professor Richard Lester, Professor John Fernandez, and Professor Bruce Tidor. Warm welcome to ITB. Also, Mr. Rector, Vice Rectors, Mr. Deans, and also some of ITB lecturers who present in this occasion. And our guests, so many researchers coming in this event. Thank you very much and very warm welcome to ITB. It is a great honor for me to be a moderator of Professor Richard Lester's presentation. I think it is going to be a very interesting and fruitful presentation and discussion. But before Professor Lester gives the presentation, I would like to read a short biography of Professor Lester here. That Professor Richard Lester is the Associate Provost of Massachusetts Institute of Technology for International Activities in the Japan Steel Industry. He also served as head of MIT's Department of Nuclear Science and Engineering from 2009 up to 2015. He took his undergraduate degree at Imperial College London, where he earned his bachelor degree in chemical engineering and obtained his PhD in nuclear engineering from MIT. Professor Lester's research is focused on innovation strategy and management, which has a frequent focus on energy and manufacturing sectors. He is also the founding director of faculty chair of MIT Industrial Performance Centers. Professor Lester has authored and co-authored several books. His latest books are titled Unlocking Energy Innovation, How America Can Build a Low-Cost, Low-Carbon Energy System. He also the author and co-author of 7 books in the areas of economics, innovation, technology, energy, and environment. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's going to be around 2 sections of presentation and discussion. The presentation itself will take around 25 minutes, followed by 15-minute discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Lester. Please give a big applause to Professor Lester.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I apologize for being a little out of order. It was only that I'm so excited to be here and so enthusiastic to start my discussion with you. First of all, I'd like to thank Rector Kordasa Suryadi for his very generous and kind invitation to us to be here in this just beautiful hall with you, and it's really a great pleasure for us to be here in Bandung. And it is an honor to speak to such a distinguished audience. Let me thank Professor Sigit Santosa for his superb arrangements and for making this possible. As you've already heard, I'm here with 2 distinguished MIT colleagues, Professor Bruce Tidor and Professor John Fernandez, and you will hear from both of them in the second part of the program. I think you know that we're here, among other things, to discuss with the academic community and with representatives of the Indonesian government the possibility of building stronger ties between Indonesia and MIT. And what I'd like to do this morning is to tell you a little bit about MIT, who we are, how we work, what's important to us, and specifically why international collaboration is so important to us at MIT. But at the same time, I'd also like to discuss with you a more general question, a bigger question, concerning the role of research universities in the 21st century, which is a subject that I think all of us are concerned about, whether we're Indonesian or American. So, to begin, just a few words about MIT. We were founded, let me see if I can make this thing work. There we go. MIT was founded 160 years ago. Actually, the date we were founded was 2 days before the start of the American Civil War, which was not the best time for the start of any educational institution. But our founder and first president, William Barton Rogers, had a vision for creating a new kind of institution that was relevant to a then industrializing America. An institution whose foundations were built on science and that was focused on learning by doing. Theory and practice, advancing knowledge and applying knowledge. And this was a revolutionary notion in its time. If you look at MIT's seal, you see on the right-hand side, some of you perhaps can see the words in Latin, mens et manus. In English, mens et manus stands for mind and hand. And that duality, mind and hand, defines MIT to this very day, 160 years after we were founded. So here is a quick snapshot of our community. We have about 11,000 students. Roughly 40% of them are undergraduate and 60% are graduate students. On the right-hand side, you can see the faculty numbers. We have about 1,000 faculty, and they are distributed among 5 schools. The largest is the School of Engineering. 37% of our faculty are in the School of Engineering. The next largest is the School of Science, then the School of Management, then the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. And I'm going to come back to that school toward the end of my remarks. And then the School of Architecture and Planning. And then a very small fraction are not affiliated with any school. MIT is really quite a simple organization. We do 3 things. We do research, we do education, and we do innovation. And what makes MIT perhaps a little bit different is that these 3 things, research, education, and innovation, are very closely intertwined. Each one of the 3 reinforces the other 2. And the interactions between them, between research, education, and innovation, creates a column that is stronger than if those 3 elements were independent elements, 3 separate legs of a stool. I'm going to talk about each of these 3 pieces in a few minutes. But for now, here is a picture of MIT that shows the shaded area, the reddish area. That is actually our campus. I'm afraid I don't know how many hectares it is. I should know, but I don't. But it runs for about a mile, about 1.5 kilometers along the Charles River, which separates Cambridge from Boston. And the campus is surrounded by many large and small companies in an area that we call Kendall Square. And many of these companies, and you can see some of the names of the larger companies that perhaps you will recognize: Schlumberger, Aramco from Saudi Arabia, others, Google, and so on. But also many smaller companies whose names you probably won't recognize because they are new and probably many of them were created within the last 5 to 10 years. So that's just a little bit about MIT for now. But now I'd like to talk with you about the larger question I mentioned. And the question I want to discuss is this: what in the 21st century is the appropriate role for research universities like MIT, like Bandung Institute of Technology, in order to do the most good for society in the future? Now, the idea of a university, I think many of us will know, is more than 1,000 years old. And while many people think of the University of Bologna in Italy as the oldest university that is still in existence, what may actually have been the world's first university was founded in South Asia, at Nalanda in India. For many hundreds of years, universities were focused on preserving knowledge and on educating more scholars. In effect, universities were all about self-perpetuation. But over the last few centuries, that has gradually changed. And now, the modern research university is mostly not about preserving knowledge, but about advancing knowledge. And it is about also educating a wide range of students to play active roles out in the world, rather than only educating future generations of scholars. MIT does those things too, advancing knowledge and educating a wide range of students. In fact, those two things are at the top of our mission statement. But at MIT, we are also dedicated to bringing knowledge to bear on the world's greatest challenges, and to do so for the benefit of humankind. That is also in MIT's mission statement. And I believe that this is the heart of what today's research universities need to do and need to be. Beyond advancing knowledge and educating students, universities need to see themselves as leaders in solving problems to make a better world. From our experience at MIT, I can report that this kind of problem-centered approach is very, very powerful. A focus on problem solving has at least 3 immediate benefits to what we do. The first benefit is in the classroom. When you frame the curriculum in terms of problem solving, students automatically get engaged, energized, and excited. Second, we find that when we focus on solving big challenges, it liberates our thinking. Your first loyalty as an educator, as a researcher, is to solving the problem, not to your professional discipline. And we're also not limited by the boundaries between industry and academia. And as we try to solve the problem, we're driven to make new tools, to seek out new partners, and to invent new technologies. And the third reason why this problem-solving approach is very powerful is that when people are working together to solve problems in the world, it becomes very easy to overcome cultural biases and differences. The people at MIT come from many different backgrounds and there are 151 countries that are represented on our campus. But when MIT people work on big problems together, they naturally come to respect and rely on each other as human beings, and to put their efforts together for a common good. In short, what we found at MIT is that by combining this focus on solving big problems for society with our effort to concentrate talent in science and engineering especially, we can achieve large, perhaps even disproportionate impact. Our mission statement inspires us to tackle humanity's great global challenges: how to advance clean energy, how to fight climate change, how to reverse environmental degradation, how to design sustainable cities, how to find new routes to food and water security for all, how to tackle cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and other challenges of an aging population, and how to establish ethical guidelines for advanced technologies so that they're used for the good of all. These are problems of concern to everyone on Earth, and they're problems that no nation or no institution can solve alone. So it is increasingly clear to us at MIT that if we want to make progress in solving these great global problems, we must work with the most talented people all over the world who share these aspirations. And one of our most important strategic objectives is to attract the world's most talented students and researchers and faculty to our campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I've already mentioned that our campus is a very international place. You can hear many of the world's languages spoken, maybe not so many Indonesian languages at the moment, but today 42% of our faculty, 43% of our graduate students, and 65% of our postdocs come from another country, come from somewhere other than the United States. But our aspirations to help solve the world's most challenging problems also mean that our faculty and students must work not only in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but around the world, because we know that we must sometimes go to where the problems are, and to work with the world's most outstanding researchers, we must go to where these people are. And in order to prepare our students to make impactful contributions in the course of their careers, we must make it possible for them to gain insight into the different ways in which problems are solved in different societies, and the different ways in which problems are actually understood to be problems in the first place. And I'd like to tell you just a few of the ways in which we're doing this. For example, in education, we're building out what we think of as a global classroom for our students. But this is not a conventional classroom. We want our students to learn about the world in the same way that they learn at MIT itself, by doing, learning by doing. So the global classroom we're building for our students also emphasizes hands-on learning and practical problem solving. Mens et manus, mind and hand. More than half of our undergraduates experience this through programs like MIT's International Science and Technology Initiatives, or MISTI, which matches more than 1,000 of our students each year with professional internships and experiential learning opportunities in 30 countries, and provides them with country-specific cultural and language training before they go. The single most important reason for our students to travel abroad is the opportunity to work with others who see the world in different ways and who are eager to contribute their ideas in joint discovery and problem solving. And we know that for our students, these educational experiences can be transformative. Also in education, we're very conscious of the limitations of our size. As I mentioned, we have only 11,000 students on our campus at any one time, graduate and undergraduate. And for our undergraduate class, we can only accept 7%, roughly, of those who would like to study at MIT. We just don't have room for any more. And that means that every year we turn away thousands of students who could truly benefit from an MIT education. And also, we know that around the world there is immense demand for high-quality educational content. I just learned today that today or yesterday was a very big day where it was announced which of the applicants would get to come here to ITB. There's an enormous demand. We are all aware of the demand for high-quality education. And surely that is a problem that is worth solving. One way to address the problem is through digital learning. So MIT is actively involved in helping to advance the future of education at many different levels, from pre-kindergarten through high school to higher education. From the residential university model, with its very severe capacity limitations, to the digital model with global reach and no capacity limitations, and to a hybrid digital residential model, where anybody, anywhere, can aspire to a micro-master's credential, a new kind of credential that we introduced a couple of years ago, and perhaps ultimately to an MIT degree. Since it was launched in 2001, MIT's OpenCourseWare website has received more than 300 million visits from every country in the world. And then about 7 years ago, in 2012, with our neighbors at Harvard, we created edX, a free, open, global online learning platform. And today, more than 140 partners use the edX platform. The impact is large and it's growing. Already we've had 3.7 million unique learners who have registered for at least one MITx course on edX. And 3/4 of these people came from outside our country. And we know that those learners are using these open learning platforms to experiment with new ways to build their professional skills and to advance their careers. And this is very well aligned with one of our key goals for digital learning, to help people gain the knowledge, to help them create their own opportunities, and to create opportunities for others. Next, let me talk a little bit about some of the research that we do with partners around the world. As I mentioned already, at MIT we place equal value on discovery and application. Discovery includes efforts to answer the most fundamental scientific questions about the origin of life. Is there life beyond Earth? How does the brain become the mind? What is dark matter? What is dark energy? One recent example was the first direct detection of gravitational waves, a phenomenon that Einstein predicted 100 years ago, and for which MIT professor Ray Weiss shared the Nobel Prize in Physics that was awarded a couple of years ago for detecting the gravitational waves associated with the collision of two black holes, a billion light years away in the universe. This is an image of such a collision based on a computer simulation, but this is an actual image, the first ever picture of an event horizon of a supermassive black hole at the heart of a distant galaxy. This image was created by an extraordinary collaboration of which MIT was one part that involved a global network of 8 radio telescopes, specifically designed for this purpose. We also do a great deal of fundamental research with international colleagues with more immediate applications. One recent example of such a research collaboration, in this case with China, has produced discoveries concerning the fundamental genetic basis for disorders of the brain, such as autism, where MIT strengths in the CRISPR methods of genome editing combined with world-class capabilities in China in vitro fertilization of primates and advanced MRI technology are leading to very exciting new possibilities for advances in treatment of such disorders. Another example is the MIT Intelligence Quest, a campus-wide initiative that was launched just last year. 60 years ago, at MIT and elsewhere, researchers lit the fuse on a big question. What is intelligence and how does it work? And the result was an explosion of new fields: artificial intelligence, cognitive science, neuroscience, linguistics, all took off at MIT, and they've produced remarkable offshoots from computational neuroscience, for example, to neural nets, to empathetic robots. Today, it's very hard to name a field that AI and machine learning haven't touched, and every major technology company is intent on developing the next big AI-based product. And there are important gains driven by consumer needs that are being made using deep learning tools. But the deep science underlying these deep learning tools was done decades ago. And now at MIT, we see opportunities to achieve a new generation of advances by pursuing new and tantalizing questions that are just over the horizon through the kind of fundamental research that leads to unexpected breakthroughs. We believe that computational and wet lab neuroscience have almost unlimited potential to spawn tomorrow's breakthroughs in AI and the development of new tools and advances in machine learning. And with that goal in mind, we launched the MIT Intelligence Quest, at the center of which are 2 new labs, one to pioneer the science and engineering of intelligence, and one to accelerate the applications of the models we develop to advance all fields of research in many, many different areas. And most recently, we launched, just within the last few months, the new College of Computing at MIT to handle the explosive increase in student interest in computing, but more importantly, to deliver the power of computing to all other disciplines at MIT. And the creation of this new College of Computing is the single biggest change to MIT's institutional structure since the 1950s, when we created a separate School of Management. And it reflects our view that our students will need to be bilingual, deeply knowledgeable in their disciplines and also in the computing tools, including AI, that can be applied to advance these disciplines. And then finally, a final example of international collaboration is how to build sustainable human societies on our planet. And above all, the problem of how to respond to the threat of climate change and the tight nexus of energy, water, food, and urbanization driven by population growth and economic development that it is connected to. The world must come together, and soon, to address this complex web of interconnected problems, perhaps the greatest challenge that humanity will face in the coming decades. And yet, if we look around the world, efforts to address this challenge are faltering. Even as public awareness of the impact of the warming climate is growing, the world's greenhouse gas emissions continue to rise, as does the atmospheric burden of carbon dioxide. In much of the world, the political will to take the necessary steps, even to slow the accelerating effects of climate change, is lacking. And one of the main obstacles to decisive action is the widespread perception that the costs of such action will be high, especially for the businesses and communities that are most dependent on the production and use of carbon fuels, but more broadly for society as a whole. Some look to political leadership to change that equation. But at MIT, we also believe that new technologies to help slow climate change and also to adapt it, while also providing the world with adequate supplies of affordable energy, will be essential too. And that the need for these new technologies is becoming more and more urgent. Our view, in fact, is that success will be out of reach without further intensive efforts in research and innovation. But the scale of global investment in science and innovation today falls far short of what would be needed for innovation-enabled solutions. National governments have so far failed to meet their own commitments, which are themselves insufficient to the task. And today there's a widespread lack of confidence that governments will be able to mount a successful response to the growing climate crisis. Moreover, most major energy companies are inhibited by their carbon-based business models from fully responding to the innovation challenge. The need for new approaches that can overcome this inertia is now extremely urgent, and MIT is collaborating with international partners on some aspects of the problem, but the need for international collaboration is much, much greater. A third way in which MIT works internationally is to help build new institutions and new capabilities. One thing that we never have done, and probably never will do, is to establish satellite campuses overseas, branch campuses overseas. But we have been helping others to build new universities, for example in Russia, in Abu Dhabi, and in Singapore, where we've also created a major new research facility, the Singapore MIT Alliance for Research and Technology, also known as SMART. In each of these cases, the government asked us to help upgrade its national innovation system by importing MIT policies and practices for education, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And finally, I just want to say a few words about an issue that the rector emphasized in his own remarks on innovation. Our research and educational collaborations with universities and companies have connected us with many local innovation systems around the world, in countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, China, Japan, Russia, Finland, Brazil, and many other countries. And among other things, this has made it possible for us to study these innovation systems and to look for common patterns of practice as well as differences. what makes it possible for particular regions to emerge as centers of innovation and entrepreneurship? Why do some cities and regions become stars at this, and others not so much? Is it just good fortune? Is it luck? Or can it be planned? Can it be prepared? At some level, the stories about these innovation systems sound similar, whether it's in Massachusetts or Hong Kong or where MIT recently launched a new innovation node in Moscow or Singapore. And the stories about these places highlight the roles of entrepreneurs and angel and venture investors. They often also involve research universities. They often also feature large corporations as sources of managerial expertise, as customers, as investors, sometimes as temporary places for entrepreneurs to perch between serial ventures. And all of these stories involve important roles for government, whether local or national, for example, in creating legal and attractive legal and tax systems. But at another level, each of these innovation systems is very different. For example, the Cambridge-Boston area is generally considered to be the world's leading center for biotech and biomedical innovation. And then there's the city of Shenzhen, just across the border in China from Hong Kong, which is rapidly becoming the world's most dynamic center for hardware innovation, drawing on the enormous manufacturing supply base that now extends beyond Shenzhen into the Pearl River Delta and the Greater Bay region. It would be difficult to imagine two more different innovation systems. Greater Boston has benefited from decades of uninterrupted basic research funding from our federal government, and from decades and from an unparalleled cluster of first-class research universities like MIT and Harvard and others, and great teaching hospitals, all in close proximity to each other. Large corporate research labs have also played an important role. And the cluster has a long-term focus. Many of the biotech and biomedical innovations take many years or even decades to bring to market, and typically are very expensive to develop. And the protection of intellectual property has been a key to the whole thing. In contrast, in Shenzhen, the innovations are low cost and very often low tech. There is an extraordinary premium on speed. First to market is everything. And the key capabilities include rapid prototyping, small lot manufacturing, and then the ability to achieve very rapid scale-up to large manufacturing volumes. And the competition among the players there is intense. If you don't win, essentially, you die. In Shenzhen, there have been no strong research universities. The central government has not been a major player, either in R&D funding or really in anything else. And when it comes to intellectual property, Shenzhen has been described as the Wild West. So Boston and Shenzhen are two very, very different kinds of innovation systems. And if you look at Singapore, where MIT is also active, the innovation system is different again, with a very different set of strengths and weaknesses compared with both Boston and Shenzhen. So what's the lesson here? I think the lesson is that there is no standard recipe for building successful innovation systems. You have to work with the ingredients that are available. And of course, that depends on where you are. And understanding what these ingredients are, say here in Bandung, and what are the extra ingredients, which, if you add them, will make for a good, strong blend, is a worthwhile goal both for researchers and for policymakers. And being successful in this kind of effort requires a deep understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of the local institutions, and it also requires combining this with knowledge of other innovation systems from around the world. I have one last word for you, and that is about people, about the kind of people that we are educating at our research universities, and the kind of education that we need to provide, especially to people in STEM. Whether they become entrepreneurs, or researchers, or engineers, or professors, we must provide them with the knowledge and resources, not only to solve problems, not only to work out how to do things, but also to ask what is worth doing and why. We need our students to be critical thinkers, to be wiser and ethically competent, as well as technologically competent. And this means expecting of them a level of familiarity with the humanities and social sciences, as well as with the life sciences, natural sciences, and engineering. And I understand that here in Bandung you're considering the creation of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. So, in summary, I set out this morning to answer a question. In the 21st century, what should be the role of a research university to do the most good for society in the future? And although I've leaned heavily on examples drawn from MIT, I hope you will understand my answer more universally. Because I sincerely believe that if universities see themselves as leaders in solving society's problems, and if they seek out partners who share that vision, they can be a powerful force, we can be a powerful force for improving the lives not only of our students, but of the communities of which we're part. And it is by solving problems together at the frontiers of science that the research universities of the 21st century, here in Indonesia, in the US, and elsewhere, can help make the world a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lester. I would like to ask you to kindly have a seat here because we are going to have a